I'm here with Marty. Just watched Arsenal losing to Tottenham in a North London derby played away in Hong Kong. First North London derby ever to be played outside of North London, and we've lost. Not great.
Not at all, mate. Not at all. Do you know what? I think the biggest disappointments for me out of that is Saka getting injured and Trossard getting injured, which pre-season is to, get your players to gel, the new players, bring them in, and to also get them fit.
Do we know the nature of the injuries?
Not get them unfit. Well, I think Trossard's is more serious than Saka. I think Saka's, from what I know immediately, is a knock, but obviously by the time this goes out, there'll probably be more released. But from what I saw, obviously Trossard pulled up. Yeah. And it's never, after a tackle and a player gets a knock and they run it off and they go off, it could just be something. But when a player pulls up, it's never a good look.
And the look on his face as he walked down the tunnel there said a lot. Also, you could see Mikel Arteta sort of give him a little pat on the back as if to say, hard luck. So that was disappointing. Saka getting the knock and coming off, that was disappointing. And I've got to say, the match in itself was disappointing.
Yeah, really disappointing. And for me, if there was ever a time to go and buy Eze, now is the time. Like you said, that tap on the shoulder. If we're trying to sell Trossard or Martinelli, before, we need to go and get that player. Even if, I'll be honest with you, even if we don't, this goes to show. And that, look, it was an North London derby and some tackles were going in, and there was a level of physicality to that game. You could see it from the start. And I really liked the first 15 minutes of that game. Arsenal started really well. Within 3 minutes, we were pegging them back. We were applying pressure. Havertz was applying pressure onto Vicario. Nordgaard was fantastic in midfield. Defensively, we were good. We were playing the ball around like Arsenal does, and you could see the want to win and the will to win. I thought Odegaard was great at the start, but then again, this goal, this ball. Look, I really like how Raya plays high up the pitch, but if you are playing that high up the pitch, you've got to pass the ball into a safe area or the player that receives it. Was it a foul? I think for me it's a combination of Raya playing the ball. There could have been a better ball to play. It could have been a foul. And also, I think Miles Lewis-Skelly should do better on the ball. Yeah. On the flip side of that is pre-season. Let's iron the mistakes out now, and let's not make these mistakes when it actually matters. Because the reality of the situation, this is for bragging rights. It's for fitness. It doesn't matter in the grand scheme. What does worry me is the issues that I've seen over the previous seasons. I saw those same issues today in that game. I didn't expect Gyökeres to come on and bang a hat trick in, and I understand bringing him on for 10 minutes. It's just to show him off in an Arsenal shirt. I'm sure against Valencia in the next game, we'll see a lot more of Gyökeres, and I think he'll just bring him into the team quite a bit more. I think it was disappointing, I really liked Havertz's intensity throughout the start of the game, but then he made a few mistakes, gave the ball. There's some really nice touches, but there were some also times he gave the ball away. Fair enough, he tried to correct it himself, but I
think the issue with Havertz, as I see it, is that, listen, he, like you said, he won some balls, some aerial duels. He held the ball up well at times. Tried to bring other players into play. The problem with Havertz, as I see it though, he doesn't represent a big enough goal threat for me.
No, definitely not. I think he's a goal threat is in the position. If Odegaard is not playing well, let's say you start with Gyökeres. If Odegaard is not playing well, you take him off and you can put Havertz in that position, which offers another threat, which is an aerial threat. So if you need to play balls in for him to knock on for Gyökeres to run onto, or if you've got Eze, you can put Eze in that position, or also potentially Max Dowman. What I did once again for the third time, seeing Max Dowman, this guy's direct. He put him on the right-hand side today. He's put him in the middle. This guy just wants to pick the ball up and run at players. And, I really look, he's only 15. You've got to manage that. You don't want him to get a long-term injury and you don't want it, But from what I've seen of the guy, he's good enough. It doesn't matter how you know, it doesn't matter how old he is. If you're good enough to play, you're good enough to play. And it was the same with Wayne Rooney. You know, people saying, oh, he's only, you know, at the time he was only 17. And I get 15 is specifically, it is classed as being young, but you know, he slotted into this Arsenal first team with consummate ease, and this boy could have a huge season in front of him. Look, is he going to get 90 minutes every game? I think that would be unrealistic because, you know, the physicality of it, he needs to, you know, grow and strengthen and, you know, grow his body, like just physically. But, you know, he is another option. You know, and I think, look, we need to get another signing in through the door. It's always disappointing to lose to Tottenham, regardless of the situation. And I'll walk away from that. You know, we need to. And I'll end it on this. What I don't like is the team we started with, and then he brings on 5-6 subs. You're changing the complete dynamic of the team. The team was set up well. I would have at half time switched Zubimendi for Norgard a lot quicker. And just made some, you know, or maybe two at a time, not bringing on when he brought on Gyökeres, Marino, Zinchenko and everyone. And listen, if Zinchenko's a player that we're trying to sell, again, is it worth risking him through injury, you know?
Okay, so overall then, the 3 games of the Far East tour, we had the win against Milan, the win against Newcastle, lost today. Overall, your thoughts, just very quickly?
Look, it's been a fantastic tour. I've loved watching AFTV's content over there. These guys have done fantastically, meeting the players. You know, the football that I've watched, it's been so nice to see Max Dowman. It's been nice that finally, well done Arsenal for signing Gyökeres. Well done for getting us that number 9 through the door. Brilliant. But as today's game shown, you know, where Madueke is going to be, you know, valid cover. Saka goes off or not. That's why we've bought Madueke. Now we need Eze, that, you know, for covering these positions. To think we're going to go through this season, you know, like Mosquera's come on. Gabriel's not fully fit. That's why Mosquera's been brought in, and Kirill's getting game time. We still need another player. Otherwise, you know, that is where it will be delusional to think that we can go on and win these trophies, the Premier League, the Champions League, the FA Cup, because we just won't have enough squad depth.